Hey, folks, it is Friday. It's not Friday, it's Thursday, February 19th, 2026. You're listening to the Daily Ledger Show, and I am your host, Dennis Sert. Great to be here with you tonight. We got some good stories we're going to talk about today. Um, Starting, of course, with Uber loses value post, or no, Uber, latest victim of disruption panic, still has role in robo taxis. Next, we're going to do Google's new Gemini Pro model has record benchmark scores again. Next, we're going to do YouTube's latest experiment brings its conversational AI tool to TVs. So we're going to kind of talk about that. And we're going to piggyback a story on that from 2015. And I'm going to have some stuff to say about that regarding Samsung's privacy policy, what you what you watch, what you say around your smart TV. And then finally, Meta is shutting down Messenger's standalone website. So, um, yeah, before we get into it, make sure to go ahead and leave a like, drop a comment, and follow or subscribe, depending on the platform. Make sure to share this with all of your friends, and let's just dive into it. Okay, Uber, latest victim of disruption panic, still has a role in robo taxis. Waymo's momentum is undeniable, but Uber's scale is being undervalued in AI-driven sell-off. So this is an interesting story on the Wall Street Journal, and I was actually kind of surprised they included a sentence in here that was actually somewhat pro Tesla, which they never are. But the gist of the article is that Uber's stock has been quite low for a while. It's like 10% down, like not, yeah, like year to date. So like a year starting in like from February 2025 to February 2026. It's down 10%. And that's because everyone's like, oh my God, autonomous vehicles are gonna come out and like, destroy everybody. And it's even concludes with that. It says in a market inclined to sell now and ask questions later, Uber stock may stay parked for a while longer, as in parked in sort of a low area, like a low price. But yeah, my take on this is that yes, like in the next few years, we're gonna see a whole bunch of autonomous vehicles, a lot more. We're already seeing a whole bunch, right? Waymo is only continuing to expand, right? And then once Tesla goes online, they're gonna be able to just turn every vehicle into a full self-driving machine, right? It says here, because Tesla's service is designed to be available for anyone who owns a Tesla vehicle with the company's full self-driving feature enabled, it could scale up rather quickly, at least in theory. And it says here, and while Waymo has partnered with Uber for service in Austin and Atlanta, Uber's lack of involvement in subsequent market announcements has created a perception that Waymo's increasingly planning to go it alone. What, you think they were just gonna go with them as a buddy? It's not even a buddy. Like Uber really doesn't have too much to contribute to the partnership. It's like if you don't have enough to contribute, then you're out. You're cut up. So that's just how it works, right? And anything. And so it's kind of funny that they even like they almost insinuate that maybe it's not the case that Waymo is thinking of dropping Uber. It's like, of course you're gonna drop that bitch. Like, are you kidding me? Um, but yeah, so like Uber's in a spot because their public perception is now like it appears as if they're behind the market, right? With Tesla, with Pony AI, right? With all these like, Zooks, Waymo, obviously, and then there's a whole bunch of like no names. But yeah, so the thing is though, Uber is still sort of, I guess, finding a few ways to at least take a few steps towards being competitive. Like they invested like $100 million plus. It was $100 million deal. To I don't think they led the round, but they were like involved in a company called Neuro's um investment, one of their investment rounds, one of their later rounds. Anyways, Um, so there's an example of Uber trying to kind of stay competitive, right? Where they're kind of dropping the dough there. So we'll have to see if that's going to pay off with Nero, but yeah. Anyways, Google's new Gemini Pro model has record benchmark scores again. So Gemini Pro 3.1, the old one used to be 3, and then everyone was like, ooh, Google AI's all that. Um, yeah, so I guess like on the humanities last exam benchmark, it performed significantly better than the previous one. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of a one and done type of thing. Oh yeah, this is kind of interesting. YouTube's latest experiment brings this conversational AI tool to TVs. Now, the way they set this up, it makes it seem as if it's the first time that surveillance is going to be put in your home, right? So it's like this experimental feature previously limited to mobile devices and the web now brings conversational AI directly to the largest screen in your home, allowing users to ask questions about content without leaving what they're watching, right? So, and then it kind of goes into it, right? Um, but yeah, but like what's funny is that like just piggybacking this article from 2015, right? Samsung privacy policy, watch what you say around your smart TV. Like Samsung TVs have been, and smart TVs in general have been listening to you like since forever, right? Well, since at the latest 2015, right? Probably earlier too, whenever smart TVs became mainstream. But just kind of double clicking on this article, it's like it says here, it's in the Samsung privacy policy. Samsung's privacy policy for its voice recognizing smart TVs warn users not to discuss sensitive information around their devices because it could be transmitted to a third party. And then it says here, please be aware that if your spoken words include personal and other sensitive information, that information will be among the data captured and transmitted to a third party through your use of voice recognition, the company's privacy policy said. So it's like, you know, the fact that they're bringing AI kind of into the debate, it's like we like you again, and this goes back to the other day when I went live here, but it's like you can assume that you are every little network request you make, every website you visit, every word that you utter, everything that you write like onto your phone, like unless you're like writing with a like piece of if you're writing with like a pen um on like a piece of paper or in a journal or something, anybody and everybody can see it. I mean, that's kind of how it is, right? So it's like now it's like, oh my God, the horror AI listening to you. It's like, bitch, what do you think has been going on since 2012, since 2015, right? Like, please. Like, for the love of Christ, like, when did the Amazon Echo come out? Because that was literally just a bug that you install in your home and nothing else. 2014. Like that's when the stuff so and let's not forget Google just settled 68 million dollars for this exact thing, which is listening to people. You know what I'm saying? So, what are you going to do? Meta is shutting down Messenger's standalone website. I guess they're doing like budget cuts or something. Like, I guess you got to do what you got to do. I mean, that's kind of unfortunate. I actually, for whatever reason, MIT uses Messenger. Like, the people at MIT use Messenger quite a bit. So it's like I used Messenger quite a bit when I was there. And it's like, I would actually go on the Messenger website. So it's kind of nostalgic or whatever, even though it was just a few years ago. And yeah, so I guess they're moving it to facebook.com/messages for messaging on a computer. So I wonder what happened there. It's either that they ran out of money just for that department or whatever, and they're doing budget cuts, or they want to consolidate the data that they like, the product analytics, right? The data that they collect from you. And for whatever reason, having it come from messenger.com wasn't very good, and they needed that facebook.com sort of prefix. So yeah, I mean, it's probably maybe a combination of both. So that's kind of what I'm thinking on that. But okay, I think we're gonna end it there. I hope you guys have a great night, and yeah, I'll see you guys around. Peace.